The first thing you want to do at the scene of a collision is call the police. A lot of times people are very apologetic after the collision, but then later when you contact their insurance company to get your car fixed or your medical bills paid, they'll deny responsibility. And by law, if it's over $500, you're required to call the police and have a report written. Second thing is, if you are feeling pain or somebody's complaining of injuries, is you want to make sure when you call 911 you let them know that there are injuries or somebody's complaining of pain, so they send fire rescue. Because at the ER they can stabilize your neck, they can do lots of things to make sure that you're okay. And then next, if you are physically able, I would highly recommend taking your cell phone. We all have iPhones or Android phones that have nice cameras, and get some good photos of the scene, of the car damage. Get good photos if possible of the debris in the roadway so we know where it happened. And then the last thing, which is very, very, very important, is if there are witnesses that are nice enough to stay, please get their names and numbers and write them down, because an independent witness will win a case 100% of the time. If you don't have an independent witness, it doesn't mean you won't win your case, but then it can become a he said, she said type situation. The police officer wasn't there, so he can't testify who had the green light, because many cases they'll only get one witness when there was maybe 2 or 3. We've had witnesses die. It happens, strangely enough, it happens more times than not. We go to talk to the witnesses maybe months later, and either they're deceased, they've moved out of town, they can't be found, their numbers have changed, and it can be a real challenge. So those witnesses are very, very critical. So, the most important things are call the police, make sure rescue comes out, and get photographs. Now, again, if you're hurt, you want to get to the hospital as soon as possible and get checked out. Our governor enacted some very strict changes in our automobile insurance law, and why emergency treatment is important is normally we have $10,000, all of us, we all have $10,000 of benefits to pay our medical bills. Well, if it's not an emergency medical condition, start January 1st, 2013, it goes down to $2,500. Under the new changes as well, very interestingly, if you go to a doctor 15 days after a collision, you don't get any PIP. To just wait and see how it goes will hurt you big time under the new changes in the law. I think if you really are hurt, you should get a lawyer. And you may say, why? I can handle this myself. What I see time and time again is people run roughshod over by the insurance company. And people are just trying to do the best they can, but they will say things that, although may not seem like a big deal, could almost admit fault. So now the insurance company is going to say, sir, by your own admission, you're partly at fault. We're not going to pay all your bills, or we're not going to pay all your claim. You don't want that to happen. And by hiring a seasoned lawyer that does this day in, day out, they'll know better to prepare you for your statement, so you know what questions are going to be asked, so you don't make flippant comments. In terms of treatment, I see a lot of people make mistakes on the doctors they go to or clinics they go to. Sometimes they'll go to places that really aren't qualified to treat the kind of injuries they have. And since you have limited PIP insurance to pay your medical bills, you want to make sure you're getting the right treatment that you need right now. The first and foremost thing that's most important is your lawyer a seasoned practitioner in the area of personal injury and automobile collisions? Because if they're not, a jack of all trades does not understand the intricacies of the cases. Sort of general practitioner lawyers don't know that. They don't have the financial resources to spend the money to hire the experts, hire the reconstructionist, hire the vocational rehab experts. We have the financial resources to do that, and we're committed. If we take your case, we're committed to your case. We will spend the money necessary and we'll put the time in. And that's not true of most just sort of general practitioner lawyers that just sort of dabble in personal injury because they believe they can make some money doing it. Also, when choosing a lawyer, look at their trials. I mean, have they been in trial before? Do they actively litigate their cases, or have they never filed a lawsuit in their life? I mean, if you don't know how to litigate and try cases, the insurance companies will not take you seriously. They will simply just starve you out, or I should say they will starve your lawyer out, which ultimately starves your case out. If you pick a lawyer who's sort of not that interested in the caseload, again, you'll have a major problem. And look, the insurance companies know all of us very well. They know our temperaments, they know our financial resources, they know how many cases we've filed, how many trials we've been in. They ask around. And if you've litigated a lot of cases like I have, you know all the defense lawyers, and the defense lawyers who they hire will tell them, you know, this is what this guy's about, this is what he'll do, and they'll make recommendations based on that. Some firms have these huge caseloads. You know, the lawyers handling 500 files. You need to ask the lawyer, how many cases are you handling? Because if they're handling hundreds and hundreds of files, there's no realistic way they can handle your case properly. You know, I started my own firm in 1993. We're celebrating our 20th anniversary, and in that time I've handled multiple thousands of automobile collision cases, and it's run the gamut from, you know, low property damage to total losses, trucking collisions, products liability type things. You know, we've dealt with fuel-fed fires and things like that, but we've handled thousands and thousands and thousands of these cases, and I have staff that's been with me 15, 17 years, long-term employees that know what they're doing. So we know how to jump on a case quickly, diagnose and figure out what we need to do and get it done quickly. We do it day in, day out, and we've done that now for 20 years. So that's very important to have somebody with that type of experience that knows exactly how to deal with all the paperwork, how to deal with the adjusters, how to deal with documenting evidence, statements, hiring the right experts if you need them, like accident reconstructionists or things like that. And again, we deal with those issues day in and day out. I think we're uniquely qualified to handle these cases because it's what we do every single day, and we've done it that way for 20 years.